Our Washington studio now with Susan Spencer. Good morning to you both. Susan.
Good morning, Diane. Congressman, the response to the President's State of the Union message from the Democrats has been a series of moans and groans and complaints that there is nothing specific to be done about the deficits, unemployment, inflation. So we'd like to give you this opportunity to present to us what the Democrats' ideas are on these subjects.
Well, I think there's no substitute for the hard decisions to continue to cut spending, but I think the entire budget has to be looked at. The growth in the military expenditures have to be put under the same scrutiny as the rest of the budget. A whole range of issues in the budget that have not been touched before have to be looked at. In addition to that, the major complaint that I have is that once you have reduced government down to the size that is determined essential, whatever the national security is and whatever the responsibilities of government are, then you have to pay for it. And that means you have to raise enough revenues to pay for it. And that's where we have a difference of opinion, I suppose, with the administration.
Are you saying that the Democrats are likely to propose tax increases in their version of the budget?
Well, we're studying, no, we're not wanting tax increases, but for example, the 1981 tax bill could be called a performance tax cut. If the economy and the deficits perform as the administration and those who advanced supply-side economics said it would, then the tax cut goes into effect. However, if we're faced with $150 billion deficits that drive up interest rates, that prevent farmers and home buyers and car buyers from purchasing and small business people from investing in their businesses, then I think we have to consider postponing that third phase of the tax cut because the economy is not performing according to plan.
Congressman, let's leave the world of theory and hit the world of reality for a minute. This is an election year. Now, are you telling me that you believe there's any possibility that Congress would vote to do away with that third year of the tax cut in an election year?
I think there is a coalition in both political parties in Congress who are very concerned about the direction of the economy and who are going to monitor early in 1982 how the economy is performing, and if it's not performing according to standard, I think there is a possibility, and I hope a good one, that a bipartisan coalition can be put together to reduce those deficits, even if that means postponing the third year of the tax cuts.
You had said last year, or implied very strongly, that before you wanted to participate in any kind of coalition or working together with the Republicans, that you would like to see some kind of admission from the White House that the policy that they had put in place wasn't working. Now, on the contrary, we have from the President insistence that the policy is working and that what it needs most is patience on the part of people like yourself. Do you really see working together with the Republicans this coming spring, or are we going to have more of the kind of fights we had last year?
Well, I liken this economic policy to an airplane ride. We're on an airplane at National Airport, we're on the runway, and we're taking off. And I think we have to monitor that takeoff to make sure the runway is long enough, that we have enough speed, enough lift to have a successful takeoff. And that's what we have to do as this economy moves along. If it's not working, we have to adjust it. Now, I'm not asking for any admissions of error or anything like that. What I'm saying is let's be pragmatic about it. We've got a lot of passengers on this airplane who are depending upon us to make the thing work. And I hope we don't get hung up on some theological belief that supply-side economics cannot be touched. Surely we all want the same goals that the President announced, but we've got to we have to understand if it's not working, you have to make whatever changes to make it work.
At what point do the Democrats feel it imperative that they publicly stake out some position? How high does unemployment have to go? How high does inflation have to go before the Democrats come forward and say these are our specific ideas?
Well, we are working on specific ideas right now and options. We're not waiting for unemployment to get even higher than the post-Depression record that we're now at. But this spring, we will have to recommend a plan. We first want to hear from the administration and see if they're going to recognize these large deficits in interest rates and unemployment and do something about them. And if they don't, then this spring, I think the Democrats will offer an alternative that will address the 1982 problems. All of us want to look at federalism into the 1980s and redefining the roles of government, but the immediate problem are the 10.5 million people who are out of work who say, what are you going to do about getting us back on a payroll? The small businessmen who cannot expand their businesses because of high interest rates, those who are concerned about high deficits. Those are the immediate problems. And this spring, if the administration doesn't deal with that, the Democrats will offer a plan in Congress.
What prospects do you see for the president getting what he has asked for? You talking about what you're going to ask for. Last time, what you kind of asked for wasn't all that different from his. He was talking about 30 or 40 some billion dollars in cuts, and you were kind of in the same neighborhood. He's asked for 30 billion more now. Do you think he can get that out of Congress again?
Well, we don't know what the cuts are. As a matter of fact, we've had no communication with the OMB, with the administration, so we don't know what their plan is. But clearly, there will be more cuts. And the issue is whether we'll have the same view of cuts, and obviously there'll be some differences.
It's not going to be a boring spring, is it?
It's going to be a busy year.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Diane?
you.
Thank you, Susan. Congressman Jones. We'll have more of the Thursday morning news in just a minute.